Well,
the
while
most.
James is grabbing a drink, I'll go ahead and introduce the show. This is our 17th episode of Jetpack Swords, a casual gaming podcast where we talk about games, gaming, whatever else we want to talk about. And last week, I mentioned we'd most likely be doing a schedule structure of 1 hour longer one week and then half hour shorter next week. And so last week was a longer one. So this week we're gonna, try to keep this to a half hour.
I think in the interest of that, we need to jump to the important topics first, which is I noticed you're wearing a blanket, and I really want to go get this new hoodie that I got, which is like a big blanket hoodie, and it might be the best purchase that I've ever made in my entire life. I feel like
Are we
most of our
sponsored by them?
podcast should be, of course not. I gave them the money. But I feel like it's still significant enough where it's worth dedicating most of this podcast to because I have enjoyed it so
Wow,
much. I
excellent.
want to leave and go get it and turn on my camera, but
I mean, you could go do that.
no,
Um,
I'll do that later.
James, I just introed the show and said that, yeah, we're going to keep this probably to around half hour. That being said, it was kind of poor timing for me to do that because obviously the video game awards were recent. And so, I don't think we're not going to talk about too much about the awards themselves. Maybe mention a couple of new games announced, which are interesting. But that'll be it. And the only thing about the awards I had to say is, I mentioned it before. Plague Tale Requiem is phenomenal, and it didn't get robbed because there were other phenomenal games, but like Plague Tale Requiem got robbed. I'm just saying. Just
I am
uh,
so shocked Elden Ring didn't get robbed. I was so anticipating it was just not going to win, and it was going to be one of the more accessible games.
it's fair, yeah. I mean, I
I
didn't
mean,
think. Go ahead, James.
I was gonna say we all three know deep down it was between God of War and Elden Ring. So
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Particularly for like the one, right? Like the
yeah,
game of the year, right? I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if like Plague Tale wins like best narrative or something, right? Like,
yeah.
or even like best female
That's
voice actress or something, right? Because the voice acting in that game was really good.
more or less exactly what they
Um,
did, right? Like all the games that didn't win Game of the Year won a bunch of the other awards,
Mhm.
besides maybe Plague Tale.
no, there are multiple games that won multiple rewards. Like,
Say God
Mhm.
of War sweeped it except for Game of the
Yeah.
Year.
Yeah.
like
He got
they won a
6, I
lot.
think,
Stray won Indie Game of the Year.
which is good. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that. Good for them.
that was cool. But yeah, no, like I said, I find the game announcements a little more interesting than the awards
for
themselves.
sure.
Namely, number one for me is Remnant 2. I'm so excited for
I-
Remnant
Oh my God,
2.
really?
We've
I
talked about it
called
a little
in
on
the
this
first 10
podcast.
seconds of the trailer. I
Yeah,
knew immediately.
I was sitting there on the couch and like Susie was sitting next to me, but not like super watching it, but like occasionally like glancing up or whatever. And I start like, like hitting the couch really hard. I'm pretty sure I was like, oh my God, is this Remnant 2? Is this Remnant 2? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And the animals start freaking out. And then they finally show it at the end. I'm like, it's motherfucking Remnant 2! And I was so excited, and the animals were really pissed at me for being so loud. But it's motherfucking Remnant 2, and I'm super excited. I wish I could say because of that if we were to transition into our next segment, but I'll let each of you say something about, the Game Awards or stuff announced. But I wish I could say I was playing Remnant 1 DLC at the moment, but I am sadly not. What stuck out to you guys, just like real quick, couple minutes tops? Like new games, new
Hmm.
trailers, anything like that.
Were there any
I know
announcements of
Packy you
any
didn't
games that I
watch.
cared about? It's hard to pick.
I mean,
Man, I wonder what
is
it
there
was.
is there
I only
another
have,
sequel
like-
that you're interested in, Packy?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't think.
Was there
Were
another
there any
sequel?
sequels to any
Surprise
games that I have
sequel?
like 200 hours in? Yeah, Hades 2, of course.
Yeah,
I think-
which- surprising.
I am shocked. No, I'm not. They are they're a really, really good studio, Supergiant Games, and they've made several very, not totally unique, but very, very different games from each other. I highly recommend Pyre. It's a very weird game that's very different, and
Pyre's cool. Yeah.
yeah, really, it's just unique. It's not the best game in the world, but I really like what they were trying to do in it,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
And their way of storytelling, like their dialogue is so incredibly good,
Mhm.
and all the different characters are really, really interesting. So I am not surprised that they're one mega massive hit. They're like, hey, let's continue to build off of that IP And albeit they're clearly going to do totally different characters, totally different story, which is going to be great, but there'll be,
Yeah.
some tie-ins. And I presume it will be the gameplay looked exactly the same, which I'm so excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I bet,
I mean,
bunch of new weapons, new enemy types.
Weapons. Yeah. New weapons, new enemies. That's all they need.
That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
So incredibly excited for that. And just to see
they
what
could
the
have
new
just
story is.
released like a paid DLC for Hades, honestly, is what I feel like they could have
It
done.
probably
They could have
started
gone
as
down
that,
route.
honestly.
That's what
I would
it's
believe
almost
it.
assuredly
Yeah.
is that.
And then they were like, but we'd rather sell it for $30 instead of 15.
Bingo.
So yeah, I don't know.
They will deserve that money.
I'm only surprised by it being Hades 2 because they've never done a sequel to any of their other properties. And I understand it was the most successful, but they've never seemed like a sequel studio. They've definitely been like, we did our thing, we've kept it like updated and like, kept it alive, but we're always going to like move on to the next iteration of like our vision for like what games can be. So that's why I was surprised.
I have no doubt
I
they're
just
doing
didn't expect it.
Like, I bet they're doing that on the
for
side.
sure.
And they're like, hey, this is...
Yeah.
But this is their cash cow, right? Like, you have to
Yeah,
reckon, or their golden goose is a better way. They're just going to, I bet this is probably the only sequel they make, and they're going to go right back to exactly what you
Bet
described.
you're totally right, for sure. But I mean, it looks incredible, so super excited. Anything else, Becky, before I jump into mine?
I was just going to say, this is what prompted myself and another one of our friends to go beat the ultimate difficulty thing in Hades, and it's so incredibly mind-numbing.
I still have not beat that game once.
Really, it's hard.
I'm better at Elden Ring than I am at Hades, which is ridiculous.
That's why I think how gaming skill is crazy. Like, I promise you, I could not beat Elden Ring, even with everything all the tools they give you to be able to beat the game. I promise you, I could never beat that game. But I have beaten the ever living fuck out of Hades.
I think the furthest I've gotten in Hades is, I think it's after, what is it, Theseus and Asterion or whatever. I think I've made it past them like once, and that's it.
That's usually the big wall, so I mean, that's impressive in and of itself.
Hey, I'll take it. So I just want to say overall, I think it was a really good reveal for like everything. There was a ton of stuff that was like super new and like had nothing connected to it. There was a ton of sequels and established properties that got like, new entries. Like there's the new Crash game, which is cool. Like if you're a big classic Sony person, there's obviously Diablo 4 had a little bit of a reveal, but it was pretty sick. They still make like the best trailers.
Just shout
ever.
out. Yeah, I was gonna say, just shout out to their cinematic team, right?
It's
like,
the best part of the
so
studio.
It is all that keeps Blizzard together. It's their art department.
It's so fucking good. Like across, all of their stuff. Like every high production value cinematic they do.
It's incredible.
It's phenomenal,
and they have been for like a decade at this point. Like I don't even know.
Well over a decade.
Like literally forever. They've all been great.
I saw some notes about that. Apparently, there's going to be a lot more cinematics within this Diablo game. Like they're just going to do a lot more story, for better or for worse.
3 had a lot of like I don't know what you'd call it, but they were like not like full rendered cinematics, but they were like stuff moving on the screen, kind of like not a slideshow, more advanced than that, but not like a full cutscene. I think where like there was like dialogue. I can't remember. I haven't played.
An in-game cinematic where you just use the in-game models and stuff.
I guess that too, but I feel like they had some that were also just like 2D. They weren't like a full rendered. I don't know.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
I don't know how to like describe
that has a name.
it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But they do that in a couple of their other games too. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Diablo 4 probably going to be a very fun game, like Immortal or whatever, but like not good in like the marketplace model. What else?
Hopefully, since they're charging $60 for it, actually they're probably charging $70 for it.
Probably charging.
They're probably charging $70.
They're not
Hopefully, it'll be
an abusive microtransaction.
Oh, there's already a battle pass. They already said there's going to be a battle pass, and people are already upset. Yeah,
it's going to be so fucking extensive.
I was surprised by the Death Stranding sequel getting revealed. I thought that was super hype. I have not beat the first one yet, but I think it's a really cool game, and I love Kojima.
Norman Reedus and a fetus.
So that's cool. We're getting a new game from the Celeste creator, which is cool. Like I never played Celeste, but I know it had a really big following and still does. I know Jacob likes it a lot. The BioShock creator, Ken Levine, finally showed off his game after like a billion years from when he left. I think Judas looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like Bioshock, but it looks cool. And then I'd say the thing that I'm like tentatively most excited for, just because I'm not the biggest fan of the series overall, but I love mech games, is the new Armored Core. Had a super, super cool trailer. And it was not the FromSoft mech game that I wanted. As I've told you all before, I like Chrome Hounds, which is never coming back. But I'll take Armored Core as a second. So, yeah. Final Fantasy 16 looked really cool. As someone who's not a fan of Final Fantasy, Jacob was extremely excited because he is a huge fan. Tekken 8 looks wild, as you'd expect. I'm really interested in this Hellboy game, too. I missed the trailer. I haven't actually watched it yet. But I really, really like Hellboy, like the graphic novel and the actual movies, too. I think it's a super cool property. So
Wait, I missed that one. They're making a Hellboy game?
Yeah, in the art style of the like graphic novels, like the actual art style. I haven't watched the trailer yet. I don't even know what kind of game it is.
That's
but
cool.
It's super cool that that's happening. So yeah, I think it was a really good show. Like in terms of reveals, in terms of the awards given, and the games on like showcase for the awards, I think they had a pretty good mix of stuff. Obviously, like again, we knew what we were gonna get, but still, I think the guests were cool. I remember texting you guys. They had Rahul Kohli, who is one of my favorite, small Hollywood people. I adore him. Thought that was super cool. They had Alana on very briefly in like one of the shots, which I thought was cool because I'm pretty sure she was there, one, for Santa Monica because she works at Santa Monica, and then two, I think her and Rahul are their friends, so that was cool. And then I was gonna say too, Jeff Keighley had come out beforehand and announced that like it was going to be a 2.5 hour show, but they were going to try to keep it as streamlined as possible. And I think they did a good job with that. It felt like a quick pace.
It was still long, but it was as short as it could be.
Yeah.
And so I agree that, quick pace, good pace. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like Danny, my girlfriend, watched it with me for like part of it because she knew I was like, me and Jacob were excited, and like she was able to like, as someone who does not like, not a big video game person at all, but like she enjoyed it despite it, just being very video game centric.
Yeah. So. Which is funny also because part of that streamlining is they do this every year. It's like the minor categories or whatever. They're just like, and the winner for this is blah, and the winner for this is blah, and the winner for this is blah. All right, fuck you guys. I know you just won something, but here's a message from our sponsors. It's just like, which I mean, that's how it works. Like you got to pay the fucking bill somehow, right? Like that show's not cheap to put on.
No, for sure.
And it was better than past years, I think. But they still did the very classic fuck you, and our sponsor. Which was always funny. You mentioned most of it. I think the only two things that you didn't mention that stuck out to me were you were scrolling the news. I was scrolling our text thread from the day. The Unreal Engine, starter kit +1 game, aka Wayfinder, that looks just so unbelievably, incredibly generic.
I'm funny.
I know these people probably worked really hard on this game.
Dude, I bet the game's probably pretty fun.
No, it probably is. It looked really fun. But
was that
oh my
the
god,
one that was like Victorian fantasy open world looking thing? Was that one?
I think so.
That might have been Immortals of Avium that you were thinking of. Actually, I can't remember.
A lot of the stuff they showed that was like forgettable still looked pretty cool. So I don't even know.
No, I mean like Wayfinder looked super fun, but it was the most generic looking
was the one
game.
That we said was a free to play game. That's right.
Yeah. It's like it's a free to play looter shooter, and so I'm super excited for it. And it's just like, it looks like Dauntless, right? Which Dauntless also looks just like the most fucking generic Unreal Engine stock assets you could ever possibly imagine. And that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. It'll be fun,
Dauntless.
And that's what matters. Yeah, exactly. No, like there's nothing like I'm saying this, and it's kind of like I'm shitting on them, and I am shitting on them, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing. It's just it is what it is, right? Like, and what's way more important is how fun it is, and I think it's going to be really fun. It looked really fun, and so I'm super excited to play it. It just looked so generic. It was It was great though. I'm excited for that. And then Immortals of Avium is the other one that stuck out to me, which is they just described it as like an all new single player Magic shooter. I don't know. Very little of it actually shown, but look kind of
That
cool.
was that one.
So
Yeah. That one could be good too, just for something different.
again, it's just they didn't show any like enough to
no.
to make any even pretend opinion on, right? Like,
I'll say I
so all
appreciate
being
that
said-
about like Wayfinder. Wayfinder, even though it is not like they could have just done a cinematic that did not represent that very generic looking gameplay at all and totally gotten away with it and people would have been hyped and whatever, but they're just like they just showed a bunch of straight up gameplay shots, which you don't see as much anymore.
No, you
and
don't.
it looked really fun for sure. Like I'm very excited for that to eventually come out. So all that being said, that's Video Game Awards summed up in 15 minutes, or in other words of not summed up, but summarized by what we think was important. Which I don't know. If you're interested in it, go look at what else was there, because what we think is
It was
important.
a good showcase. Yeah.
It doesn't mean shit.
It's worth
what we
a
think.
look. Oh, yeah, Horizon DLC got announced. Forgot.
Oh, it's true.
We also didn't mention
that actually
Jedi
that
Order
looks phenomenal.
Survivors.
Oh yeah,
looks
that's true.
So good.
That looks super cool too.
I just want to
I
watch
just
that
re-downloaded
game
the first
as a
one.
movie. I wish someone. I probably should go on and
I
watch.
think they're
one of the
making a
YouTube
TV show.
compilations.
I think
have
they're
no
making
idea.
a
They've
TV show.
already got it.
And
They're making a TV
and
show
I
for God of
think
War.
the guy-
That was one of the announcements that
well,
came
and
out.
I think
today.
the
Oh, Space
actor.
Marine 2.
I think the voice actor for Cal is the actor in the TV show.
I mean, that would make sense.
That's
Because I mean,
He's
it's
a-
not a lot to him.
He's an established TV actor already. So.
Oh,
Then
no,
in that
that-
case, it's
that
almost
makes super
certainly true
sense.
in that case.
He was in.
Somebody
I never
look this
watched
up
it, but
though.
I think he was in
I'll look it
Shameless.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I want to say I didn't watch it, but I think that's what he was in. It was a good showcase.
It seemed fun. You were on
I
mute,
think.
Greg.
I think not to.
Damn it! I was muted.
Not
Sorry, go
to.
ahead, James.
I just want to say one more thing real quick. I'm not super into the Forspoken game, just from what I've seen. But I think it was really cool of them to drop a demo during the show, like while they were talking about it, and like had their trailer up. I thought that was really cool. Makes me think of like when Bethesda did that with like Fallout Shelter. I like stuff like that where they like have a product they're willing to show immediately, and it's like it's just there. Like if you want to go download it, it's up.
Yeah.
I just think stuff like that's really cool.
Dude, I am.
Yeah.
I was looking hard at that. It's one of those like very, very spectacle-y games that gameplay, the initial signs are not great on the gameplay
Yeah.
and story, but
I've
I'm
seen
very
some
interested.
people compare the combat and like movement and stuff to the Infamous games, which I was a huge fan of back in the
that's a
day.
good comparison.
So they said the story's weak from the demo, but it feels like Infamous, which is, I mean, that's kind of cool. So I'll probably check it out at some point. The demo's still on the PlayStation, so I might
That's cool.
dive in at
Yeah.
some point.
yeah, I'm just hopeful. It seems like one of those games where they created the spell effects and the combat first, and then they were like, all right,
How do we get a
How-
story?
yeah, what do we put around this core that we have now?
Definitely.
And so, it's usually, did they meet the minimum requirements to make the rest of it? Did they create the proper vessel to let that stuff shine? I assume
Mhm.
the story's going to suck, but will the gameplay elements let you really
Yeah, it'd be good
enjoy
enough.
that?
Mhm. Yeah, we'll just have to see.
Yeah. Definitely not a game I'm going to get on launch. Going to wait for
No,
all those reviews to come in.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair. The Fallen Order TV show is a rumor, but there is a rumor that he's agreed to sign on, or he's
I mean, again,
signed
it
on
would-
to a Disney Plus
would make
TV
sense.
series. So
That would make a lot of sense.
They could cancel
yeah,
it, though,
so
with how Disney Plus is going.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus
Um,
Christ.
So James, what are you playing these days?
I've had a lot of time to play lately because of work and the pretty intense tooth pain I've been dealing with the last few days. I had a root canal this morning. That was fun. But my girlfriend, because I was recovering today, gave me one of my Christmas gifts early, and she got me a Steam Deck. So
Hey!
shout out to my
That's
wonderful girlfriend, Danny.
awesome.
But yeah, I haven't played a ton of it, but it's really cool. I have the smallest storage one, so I'll probably mostly use it as just like a indie, kind of like the Switch. Use it for like computer level indie
It's
games
the
and
Hades,
stuff.
the Hades 2 machine.
Yeah, which like I'm super fine with because it's unlike the Switch where I don't have that big of a library because like I have to buy all those games. I already have a Steam library and 50 of my Steam games already like are verified for it. So like that's pretty cool. It seems like a really cool little system. I definitely try to get some more time with it. Other than that, what have I been playing? I don't even know. Call of Duty, I guess a little bit when I wasn't miserable with my teeth. I want to say I hate this about myself. So you know how like Spotify does the Wrapped thing where you get to see like your year of music or whatever. Sony did that for the PlayStation 5, and I'm sure the 4 also, but specifically for me it was the 5. And my most played game this year on my PS5 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is disgusting.
Already?
Oh my god.
Yes.
What the fuck?
And I realized why.
How?
It's because I was like, oh, it's got to be Elden Ring, because I have Elden Ring on both systems, but I did all my Elden Ring when it launched on the Xbox. I put in all 300 hours or whatever in Elden Ring on the Xbox, and I've not done that on the PlayStation. So yeah, I played, I think, 350 hours of my PlayStation 5 this year, and 76 of those at the top was Call of Duty.
Oh,
Modern Warfare
baby.
2.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
Oh, I've been playing Infinite Warfare also, which I know we don't want to talk about. I know we don't want to talk about Call of Duty for sure, but I just want to say, Greg, I know you can at least probably understand this because you actually care about the franchise a little bit. Going back and playing Infinite Warfare, a little bit of the multiplayer, even at this state, and then definitely the campaign, and just navigating the menus. Holy shit, Modern Warfare 2 is a step back. It is like Modern Warfare 2, you like the menus are not snappy. They take forever to load the menus themselves because they're always trying to do some weird 3D effect or whatever in the background. Infinite Warfare, the menus are snappy, quick. The things you want to see pop up instantly, like the creative class is the old like 10-point system, which I always really liked. Like, and it still looks great. It doesn't have like the like resolution and like particle effect fidelity or whatever of Modern Warfare 2, but man, it runs like a dream, and Modern Warfare 2 runs like fucking molasses. Like, it sucks. That's why I'm mad that it's my most played PS5 game.
That's fair, yeah. It has been a little bit of a letdown. I was very excited for it. I don't think it's terrible, right? But it's not terrible. I mean, it's still relatively solid
for Modern Warfare.
But yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah, it's definitely disappointing.
All right, that's all we're gonna say because I don't want to.
I had a random thought, which is not what I've been playing. But I just like as soon as you said you got the Steam Deck, it popped in my head because this news was announced today, I think, and it is the stupidest fucking news, but it's still kind of funny, and I still feel like it's worth mentioning. So Tesla's Model S and X.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they got an update today, and you all know what is on that update is Steam. It is you can now run Steam and play Steam games on specifically Steam Deck like verified games, right? Because it is a Linux OS. And so like Steam Deck verified, which is why I thought of it, because you said Steam Deck, obviously. So yeah, Steam Deck verified games you can now play on your Tesla Model S or X, which I just think is fucking hilarious. Like, it's just ridiculous. Charging. The answer is charging, Packy. You charge the car for 30 minutes and you play some Hades on your
load up some
screen. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's the same reason they have, Netflix and Hulu on the screen is, same thing. You charge the car for 30 minutes and you play some Hades. But yeah, I just thought that was hilarious that, you can literally play Steam games on your freaking car. It's so stupid. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bummed. I can't at the same time. But anyways, so I've been playing a lot of Divine Knockout with Packy, and it has surpassed my expectations because they were pretty middling expectations.
Yeah,
and it's a good game. It's a good game. Like, it's really fun. It plays well.
The free to play Smite brawler, Smite developer brawler,
like
right?
Smite plus Super Smash Bros. Kind of thing.
The B tier brawler is here.
It's good though. Like,
it's a good genre for B tier.
It's fun. I don't think good is such a strong word.
You're right. I mean,
it's a well executed.
It's not game. It's not game of the year.
It is very enjoyable.
It's very fun. It's very, very fun.
Hey,
it's not game of the year, but it's very, very fun.
Well, there you go.
I think it's just
like I just.
It is. It's very different, but it's kind of in the same vein, and really is going for the same audience as Multiverses, and Multiverses
Oh,
overall
for
is
sure.
just an objectively better game.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I like the spice of life variety of the 3D aspect of it, right?
Yeah,
It
I mean, it's
makes
just very, very different.
it feels very different, and it's good. And it's like we were talking about. It's what Hi-Rez seems to do relatively well is take a established thing, put a slight little twist on it. You know, they did this with MOBAs. It's exactly what they did with
Mhm.
MOBAs, right? Like they
Yeah.
made Smite, which was a third-person MOBA, and now they made a third-person platform fighter, and it's really fun. Just like
honestly
Smite
feels
was really
like
fun.
closest to it's a middle ground between like a real fighting game and a Mario Party game. That's what it really
Yeah.
feels like because there's no real combos or
I mean,
like
that's a good middle ground, though. I feel like
It definitely is.
really
It's-
good.
I'm not a
that's what
fighting
makes
game
it
person
fun.
though, so I guess that's why.
Fighting games
Well,
is all
that's the
about
thing
like
is, I feel like you could truly just mash buttons in this, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like it is a case where like mashing buttons will be successful in some cases, like for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I've been having a blast playing that. Obviously, you know, Peggy been playing that with you a lot, and then occasionally also playing WoW with you. Last night. So we're recording this on December 14th, which is a Wednesday. And
Mhm.
yesterday was the launch of the Raid and Mythic Plus, and the PvP season. So it's basically like the game is starting now. It's like now you can play the game, you know, if you go back to that South Park meme. And ended up doing like 4 Mythic Pluses last night and got to like, we completed a +9. We didn't time it, but we completed it, which just means that like we're not bad. So that's all it means to me. We're not the best, but we're not bad, and it was super fun, and I was so glad I got on to play. And I might, as we wrap up here in 9 minutes, and Packy, this is then extended to you as well. Join my brother because they're raiding tonight, and so in 9 minutes when we wrap up, I might go join him.
ooh. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna do it right now, but I don't know. I think this season of Dragonflight's just been different. I really felt yesterday. It
It's
didn't
not
really feel like the game had
it's not
opened.
heroin, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just like a little it's
It's
just like a
not
little
heroin.
casual coke. It's just some coke. You know, it feels good,
That's
but
really
you don't
funny.
like you don't need it. You don't need it. Which
I
is
think
good, I think.
all that is to say, like usually the game is there's a very clear and singular like power grind track that everybody is on and that you can constantly be working on in a variety of ways, but you should always be working on to improve your standing in the game. And now they have taken that away, and now it is just, hey, enjoy all these different kinds of ways you can play this game separately.
Just
and
enjoy the
enjoyably.
game. Yeah, like just have fun. Like
Yeah, I've
don't
enjoyed that a
don't
lot.
throw away your life. Just have fun. It's fun. There's a lot of fun things to do. You can collect mounts. You can go fishing. You can hang out with the fucking walruses, or you can grind Mythic Pluses or raids or PvP or conquest, or like go explore all the zones or do the dragon
Yeah.
riding. Yeah, no, like there's just
At a high
ton
level,
of
it just like it makes each
options.
of those activities feel more enjoyable because it doesn't feel like a slog and a grind for some purpose. You're truly just doing it as games should be played for fun, and then you do it as much as you want, but for the same reasons. Like I've not been nearly as motivated to play and grind certain
Absolutely,
stuff as I
same
used
here. Which is good because, like I said, I'm having a blast playing Divine Knockout, and so I'm gonna keep playing that in spare time as well. And still haven't, and so maybe I'll try and twist some more arms. Still haven't done like a 6+ person Halo Infinite custom game night now that the custom games browser's out. But like I think I'm gonna need to twist some arms and
I never
and
know
make
if
that
it's
happen
like
this weekend.
easier or harder with the holidays because people are off, but we're all going to be
They
traveling.
might be going
so
home or whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's definitely going to be interesting.
well, we're pretty much right on our target mark. Either of you have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up? James, you can go back to nursing your root canal tooth, and I can go play some WoW.
I don't think so. I think we hit all the things. I mean, there was a lot. Like I said, there was a lot for the VGAs. Just go check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah.
ignore everything we said other than that part of go check it out yourself. All right. Well, Adios, everybody. Thank you for
See
listening. If you
ya.
are still listening, and yeah, bye. Look at us, so short.
Hey,
Who'd have thunk?
I like it.